Knowing how to write a good summary is a useful skill both in and out of the classroom. In school, you might be asked to summarize a reading or a class. In your job, you might be asked to summarize a meeting with a colleague or client. In this video, you'll learn how to write a summary. Let's just say you wanted to recap Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s I Have a Dream speech. Your summary might sound something like the following. In his I Have a Dream speech, Dr. King discussed how he envisioned a future without racism and hate. He opened his talk with a reference to the Emancipation Proclamation and pointed out that blacks still did not have their freedom. King then encourages his audience that they need to act immediately. In the next section, he repeated I Have a Dream 8 times and painted a picture of what a world without racism would look like. King concluded his speech by pressing the nation to let freedom ring. Or imagine that you missed one of your classes and you asked a classmate what you missed. She might say something along the lines of this. In class the other day, Professor Martin discussed summaries. First, he discussed what they are, then he explained the element of effective summaries. After that, he moved on to the summary formula. Before Professor Martin closed the class, he had students work on summarizing a reading. Both of these examples are summaries, and they have a number of things in common. Keep in mind that all summaries should include the following. First of all, effective summaries should include references to the person or thing being summarized. They refer to the speaker or author multiple times. If you do not include a reference to the thing that is being summarized, it's not clear that these are somebody else's words and not your own ideas. And so you need to make it clear that these are somebody else's ideas. Good summaries also include VOAs. VOAs stand for verb of attribution. Verbs of attribution are verbs that make it clear that the speaker or author said or wrote something. Examples of verbs of attributions include the following: says, explains, discusses, and many more. As a side note, when the who, so the author, and a verb of attribution are combined, it's referred to as an author tag. For example, Martin argues is an author tag. Good summaries also includes transitions that show what part of the original piece is being summarized. Transitions that work well for a summary include first, second, third, then, additionally, also, in conclusion. At times, a verb of attribution also acts like a transition, like the words begins, concludes, or moves on. Good summaries also include only the most general ideas. A summary is not the place to put in very specific stats and numbers. If a reader wants that, they can refer to the longer piece themselves. Good summaries also include few to no quotes. They are generally far too specific for a summary. However, in the King piece, he does repeat a few phrases so many times that it would be nearly impossible to summarize his speech without using the words, I have a dream, or let freedom ring. However, in general, quotes are usually too specific for a brief summary. Good summaries should also be objective. With the exception of an executive summary, which is a special type of summary that is often used in business contexts, a summary should strictly be what the original author or speaker wrote or said. You shouldn't insert your own opinion. This includes even sneaky subjectivity like he opened his moving talk by. Moving really is a subjective term that you should leave out of true summaries. And lastly, summaries need to be shorter than the original. You can summarize anything into one sentence. That said, generally summaries are a bit longer than that to give the reader a few more details so they can have a good idea of what is being summarized in the original piece. However, aim to keep your summary to no more than 1/3 the length of the original. If your summary is as long or longer than the original, there really is no advantage of someone reading the summary versus reading the original piece. To develop a strong summary, consider using the following formula. You're going to want to pause the video here so you can jot down the summary formula in your notes. Let's take a look at the MLK Jr. summary again to see the summary formula in action. Here you will see the references to the thing and person being summarized. They are highlighted in yellow. Next, notice the VOAs, the verbs of attributions, which are highlighted in aqua. On this slide, the transitions are in green. Notice that some VOAs, like opened and concluded, act as both a verb of attribution and a transition, which is why they're half green and half aqua. There are other words like this, including begin, moved on, and ended. If your verb of attribution also shows chronological order, then you don't need to include a transition as well. Lastly, the thesis and major supporting details are in gray. Keep in mind that you will have something that looks like a summary if you use the summary formula. However, it's going to be incorrect unless the thesis and main points that you choose from the original piece are accurate. This ends the video on how to write a summary. You can reference the following lesson in D2L for further information.